OK, let's get back into the politics of nuclear and go to how the plan has been received in various states, particularly Queensland, though, where under the Coalition's plan, it would receive 2 nuclear reactors. Problem for the Coalition is that the LNP under David Crisafulli, who will probably win the next election, has remained steadfast in his opposition to adopting nuclear power. And if the polls are believed, as I said, he's going to be the Premier come October. For more on this, let's bring in former Queensland Premier Campbell Newman. Campbell, great to see you on a Wednesday night as opposed to a Friday night. Can you please, as an ex-Premier, ex-Lord Mayor of Brisbane, someone plugged into Queensland politics, please explain what's going on in David Crisafulli's head?
Well, look, he's just done this final straight, as he sees it, to an election victory in October with this small target strategy, and he ain't taking any risks at all. And it's very sad. It's very, very sad, Steve, indeed, because I think he's misread the mood of the electorate out there. I mean, for example, today the Courier Mail have run an online poll, and I know it's just a slice, but that was running all day at 78% support for nuclear in their region. So this is a Queensland sort of, a poll, if you like, and I'm sure, though, it holds up. And Crisafulli and his team were totally wrong in assessing what the community's views were, for example, on The Voice and things like treaty. And he also is very much against the rank and file of his membership. I mean, my party, the Libertarian Party, have been supporting this in a wholehearted way for the last 4 years or so. We totally support what Dutton said today. It's just that Crisafulli ain't going to take a risk.
That same poll in the Herald Sun in the great socialist state of Victoria, you'd be pleased to know, Campbell, was 94% of people said that they supported nuclear energy. So maybe Peter Dutton's reading the tea leaves better than anyone else. But, you know, back to Crisafulli, all he needed to do was say, listen, this nuclear question is going to go to a federal election where the people of Australia, including everyone in Queensland, is going to have a vote. If the vote installs Peter Dutton as the next Prime Minister, he has a mandate to establish nuclear energy, including two plants in Queensland. And if he wins the election and the public want it, I'll support it. That's all he had to say.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I think that's a really good point. I mean, I won't stand in his way. That would be the absolute sort of position. And indeed, it's a sensible position because, David Crisafulli, if he's going to be the Premier, he has to deliver cheap, reliable electricity. He's got to deal with a cost of living crisis for Queensland families, but he's also been quite happy to sign up to emissions reduction targets. So how's he going to do that? If he's against carbon emissions, he's obviously got to be against the cheap coal-fired power that keeps this place going, provides 70% of our electricity needs right now. So he's got to see those phased out. So he's got to back renewables, and renewables are going to need those transmission lines you said before, huge cost, plus they're going to need storage. But he's also said, Steve, that he's against the Labor Party's large pumped storage projects. So quite frankly, here's the stark reality of where he is now. He doesn't actually have a reliable plan for electricity. I mean, Stephen Miles sort of has one that's incredibly expensive, and I wouldn't back, but I don't think Crisafulli's got one because he doesn't back the storage that's required and he's not going to back nuclear. So how is he going to deliver? I mean, this is the problem when you actually don't have a fundamental bedrock of principle going into an election. He's tying himself into all sorts of knots that he's going to have to extricate himself from as a new Premier.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall or listening into the conversation between Peter Dutton and Crisafulli next time they speak. Campbell Newman, great to catch up. I'll see you on Friday on our normal program. Now,